Oh, sorry, I was muted. Welcome in everyone to Wise Up TV, and welcome to All You Can Eat Warriors, and I mean all you can eat warriors. And Ash is out tonight, guys, unfortunately, but I got some backup, man. I got some mean guys that just come back from injury. They're ready to rock and roll. They're fit and ready like Marata. They've had a few weeks off, but I want to welcome them in. Firstly, I want to welcome in Ty, man. How you doing, brother? From Warriors Fan TV. Welcome in, bro.
Yeah, cheers, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome, man. And my man Anton. How you doing, bro? Oh, mute. Take him off. You're muted, brother. If you unmute, my bad.
Great start for me. I'm going great, man. How
are you? Good, brother. Good. Thank you for coming in, man. And we appreciate you both of you being here at a whim. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone in the chat for coming in as well. If you are here, guys, for the first time, please give us a like and subscribe to Wise Up TV. I appreciate you all. Now, mate, kind of a crossover here, a bit of a Warriors multiverse here. We've got Warriors Fan TV, we've got Anton, he's his own identity, his own platform himself.
But just what I
am. But if talking about multiverses, Marvel multiverses, what's your favorite part of the Marvel multiverse? Start with Anton. You got a favorite part of what you like in the Marvel multiverse?
Not a big kind of Marvel guy or DC guy, to be honest.
Wow.
But if I had to pick one, I'd definitely say Hulk. He was always my favorite when I was a little kid. I used to pretend to be him and try to push people's houses over when I was about 3. I don't think I was convincing anyone. But if I was going to go one way, it'd be that way, I reckon.
Cool. No, Hulk, absolutely. Ty, man.
I'm a sucker, bro. So I'm so deep into all the Marvel series in it at the moment. So I'm almost through X-Men, the cartoon one at the moment, and I feel like I've found myself in a hole where you can't get out of it because you've watched so many.
Yeah.
So for me, there's no, I'm probably going to be a bit obvious and say I like Black Panther, but I kind of just like that it is a world and you get to experience like we do with Warriors Fan TV and all the different storylines and narratives that go with it.
Yeah, hard out. I've always been big on X-Men. I've liked my favorite character was Wolverine. So yeah, it's good to see the X-Men 97. I think that's really cool. But yeah, man, great to have you guys in. Great little lot of topics to cover too, man. I thought we'd start off just quickly. Haven't heard your guys' thoughts on the game. Maybe start with you, Anton. What, man? Talk us through your experience, emotions, everything.
So I was in the stands for the previous 2 games. I was there in Sydney and I was there in Newcastle the week before. And what I saw was pretty like was fairly disappointing in person. The energy was quite flat, especially in the beginning of games. We just came out with like little intensity. When we were kind of up against it, we didn't look like we really had kind of a second plan up our sleeve when things weren't working, when the structure wasn't working. This game started kind of the same way. We kicked out on the full straight away. I went, oh shit, here we go, sort of thing. I think we all went like that, you know, because I think leading up to the game, I was actually feeling optimistic about it. Strangely, not necessarily that we would win, but I liked the fact that Webby was trying something different. He wasn't just kind of swapping in, a halfback to a halfback position. He wasn't just like slotting guys in and out. He was kind of going, well, what's the style of game that's going to win us a game here? What's our problem? And I feel like a lot of our attack was letting us down. We were just not really running it very direct. Our play was quite. We shift really slowly, and our decoy runners weren't really very, very convincing in terms of looking like they're going to get the ball. And so defenses just go, well, I don't really have to cover him too tight because I'm not really worried about him. I'm just going to keep sliding. And then sooner or later we end up on the sideline. The other thing is Tamaire as well. I was finding I wasn't being really hard on Tamaire this whole month or so, because my observation was just that ever since that Melbourne game, we haven't had really the same attacking confidence. Sean's been floating on either side of the ruck as first receiver, and often when the ball gets out to Tamaire, it's kind of like an afterthought, or he gets it on the last when he's not expecting it because Sean's about to be tackled, and it's just a hospital pass to him, and there's no numbers there. They're not ready to chase. So what I liked was, okay, he's going to be given some room, a bit of time on the ball, and a bit of a chance to attack within a design structure here. The weird thing that I think we were all kind of wondering was, how was the Chans move going to go? How was that going to look? So when it paid off and we started, when we got into their 20 and stuff and started scoring points, that was really cool. And to win the game, obviously, like, elated with that. Having said that, I think falling into the hole I think a lot of people fell into after the South victory, where everyone was like, oh man, we're so locked in, we've got it going on this season. I think a lot of the poor parts of our game that have been featuring strongly over the past month were still present. We were still turning over a shitload of ball. We were making errors. We were letting them out of the end quite easy. We were doing things like I felt like when they got in the 20, we weren't defending our errors. They would come down inside our 20 and they would score. We just didn't let them down into our end very often, right? But if we did, say if they weren't turning over as much ball as they did, which was very un-Panthers, if they had played, sort of completed at 80%, I think we lose that game. Because we still haven't sussed out how to defend sides in our 20 yet. We still are not as good as we were last year. And that to me is still a massive worry when we come up against really good sides. But a massive thing for us is we were losing by small margins because our attack just wasn't there, and it looked way better in this game. So overall, if I'm to measure the emotion coming out of it, it's way more positive than it is negative. But I just wanted to float that because I feel like so much of the rhetoric around the Warriors in the light of that win is all just glowingly positive and saying like, look, we shouldn't give up on them. See, we are awesome. We are world beaters. And I think that's probably where our season came unstuck, was we had so much hype and so much belief in the team that we were a top 4 team before we'd even kicked a ball. I think we got too far ahead of ourselves, and our game was nowhere near where it needed to be for a lot of the season. So I just want to kind of like enjoy that win, but also be mindful of what we've seen as well. And it hasn't all been positive. We're still working on quite a lot of things there. But Hey, at this point of the season, you grab the 2 points and you run, baby.
Yeah, I think you obviously a couple of days after you kind of reflect and think, okay, there was those things that you're mentioning, but that team just desperately needed a win, no matter how and us as a fan base. Ty, for you, man, I suppose a couple of days after, but how are you feeling about that performance, and where does it sit for you in terms of is that kind of a turning point for our season, or are we still got a lot of things to work on as Anton mentioned?
Yeah, I think Anton mentioned, I had similar thoughts. I think it was a great win. I don't know about you Warriors fans out there, but seeing 4 weeks of not seeing a dub starts to take a toll on your mental health, and you kind of wonder what's going to go on. But I think I was most happy about the game is that seeing some of these young blokes step up and actually show themselves. Now, again, I agree we didn't see a real sharp Panthers side, so if they did actually play Panthers footy, it might have been a bit different. But for me, seeing those young boys step up, I actually think it puts a lot more, not pressure, but actually says to these guys that are usually there, I'm here for your spot. If you're not going to take it, I'm here to take that. But I think for us, just getting a dub actually I think for us fans makes us see that maybe top 8 might be in the picture now, because I think last week it was like, damn, we just got roasted by the Roosters. How are we going to go against the Panthers? And in terms of the game, Anton really mentioned a lot of them. I just think for me, it was very shaky start. Obviously, Tane's kick, but even just sometimes when we were down there, I thought we could just put the grubber in, got the reset. I thought it was just a little bit jittery at sometimes. But then we slowly found ourselves, and I believe that came down to I think Roach. He's a good quality ball out of that hooker position, and I think he put it right on Dylan's chest, and Dylan was actually taken to the line at speed, and I think that made a lot of a difference. And again, I'm not hating on Tohu. I love Tohu there, but I think Dylan Walker just brought a bit more speed to our attack, and actually it opened up outside too. So yeah, can't complain. We got the dub. Still think there's a lot to work on, but hopefully this is kind of one of those stepping stones that we can build on. And with Murata back and a few other guys back this week, I hope we can get over the Dolphins as well.
What was your thoughts, Anton, about? I felt for me that the attack was really well balanced. Chance from the get go was just into it, and you just saw some elements there that was really, thinking forward with me, like, wow, that was exciting, and there's something there. And then on the other side, Tamaite kind of grew into the game. And then Dylan was, directing the ship really well. And again, as Ty was saying about Paulie Roach, do you think there was maybe just guys? I suppose my view is a little bit about SJ being such a dominant focal point and director. Do you feel that maybe as a group, those 3 or 4 players, including even maybe Tane, just kind of shared the workload a bit, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of things going on for me, right? It's kind of easy to kind of go, well, like, Sean's the problem because he gets so much ball and it's just not working. It's quite a simplified way to look at it. But I think looking at how the game was played in attack in particular, there was a defined left and right side attack. We had one half playing on one side and the other half playing on the other. And it just seemed like the shape was a lot more clearly defined as we move through a set. So once you go like from tackle 1 to 5, you could see how they were setting up different plays and how the numbers were shaping up on either side. It's much more clearly defined rather than like, oh, we're going to try something out to the left. It doesn't work. And then you watch that whole thing reassemble out to the other side again. And it's like Sean kind of slots in again. It's not to say that's wrong, because the Sharks are doing that with Nico Hines. He's first ball receiver. He's on the ball all game. And then the 5/8 has a simplified role. They take it direct and they make space for him out the back, sort of thing. So I think it can work, but where we've looked best is actually when we play in structure. We actually look much better when we play it simple and we play structured and we play effective. So I think that helped us, the fact that we had a simplified sort of model when it came to attack and everyone had a clearly defined role. But then on top of that, and you touched on it before, brothers, you had a few players that they're in the shop window here. They don't know how many shots they're going to get at first grade this season. This is their chance to show to Webby, I'm the guy. If anything goes down, I'm the guy. You had Ali Lautawa, you had, Laban played big minutes as well. And I just felt like the intensity from some of those guys that might have been off the bench guys, Walker, and Tavanga, they had like a 15% increase in intensity for me. I feel like they felt like the responsibility was on them now without a Tohu there. There wasn't a big, huge tarantula just in the middle of the field tackling everybody and taking hard hit-ups. They were going to have to be the guys to force errors. And it was a huge game from Jazz. I loved what he was doing in defense. He was jamming blokes and he was making them cause errors. And Walker, like you say, like the overall speed around that middle third of the field, we were making meters no problem. And that's normally not a thing with the Panthers. Normally they don't let you march down the field like that. So I think you got to give a lot of credit first to the middle forwards, but also I think the hookers. Lussick, I felt for a while he can be quite slow and a little bit indecisive at times. But I was really impressed with Roach, man. I thought he was really quick out of dummy half. He knew where he was going, and he would just snap that ball, and it was always out in front. So guys were getting the ball early, and they were getting it in good positions, and that just enables that shape to be way more effective when they're getting it quickly like that. And yeah, so overall, I just think that simplified game, and it wasn't raining too. We don't like the rain.
Yeah.
We've proven time and time again, a dry track, much better. And I think, you know, for the Panthers, it was quite hard to break that down because it's just an effective attacking model when you have a quality half on either side, and you have guys who know how to delay those passes and just slip it at the right time, which they both are able to do effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really good summary there. I just want to focus on the coach. I mean, the big talk point for me was that I felt that he had, adjusted things, but still very much the system that we know and understand. But like you said, it looked a lot more even, and the spacing and the setup was, it wasn't like you said that. That's so true. That big shift, you do a shift left. And you noticed a lot of them, Panthers didn't jam typical spots where you jam the half. I think there was a lot of disguise. You could see Tomato would just sit behind the ruck, and then once the ball was about to happen, just sweep across. Just little things I think really caught Penrith off guard. And just I think for the coach, and I can ask you this, Ty, I suppose getting one over Ivan, how important is that? But also the messaging around trusting the process, all those types of things. Yeah, how important do you think this was for Webby in his coaching, his young coaching career?
Yeah, well, I think for any of us, if you go against the master, if you go against someone that you worked under, you always want to get one up against him. But I kind of take Webby as the guy that's, would love to see it. But I think, for him, it's really focusing on these boys performing well and doing their jobs. And I feel, they went out and did that. And I feel one of the big critiques for our Warriors has always been, are we too predictable? Are we doing things that, people other teams are reading? And in some sense, I think we have been a little, but it shows that when you actually execute the system well, it actually can work for you. And when you actually give, the not to say that Johnson has been a problem necessarily, but like when you actually start spreading that load out so more people can take on those roles, we start to see a bit more balanced game. Because I think for me too, around the attack, there's just a lot more variations. I think we've been quite predictable with like potentially going to be a front door here, potentially going to be a front door here, and it's going to the back end. Chance can pass a long ball now with a double pump, just a bit more variation to what we're used to seeing. Now, I don't want them to just chuck crazy stuff, but they all, I felt for most of the attack, they're choosing the right option, and that came from just getting into shape, getting into position, and then trusting that people are going to do their roles. So I think for me, Webby would have been happy he got over Ivan, got over the team, but I kind of think he would have been happy that boys are just sticking at it with what they had and actually came out with the dub.
Yeah, I just want to ask you a really, really good point there, man. I think he is that type of coach. He always deflects. He doesn't want to get involved in a lot of those, I suppose, discussions. But I wonder if you watched that interview of Ivan, just maybe laughing or having a giggle. You're like, yes, that was gold, man.
I think all us fans were doing it, and like I want to be the guy that's supportive of Ivan. I think he was just real pissed with his teammate, but you'd hope to see an opposing coach be a bit more sportsmanship. But I think he was just pissed. Like, I can't wait to get back into the shed and blow this team up.
I think it was like a few weeks they've actually been playing a bit like this. They were lucky to get away with it against the Dogs, and I feel like they had a bit of a loss coming, and they're just not improving. And you could see that frustration on his face. And I just thought, like, well, if things don't work out for him at Penrith, I wonder if he'd consider coming on as Webby's assistant. Because I think he'd be great. He'd be great in the role.
Bro, get Serraldo and Cleary in the booth. Role reversal, reverse family tree.
We've already taken Fisher Harris, so
Yeah, we got his son as well. We've already got his son.
Exactly.
They're all our sons. They're our sons. I just want to last point on the game, and we'll talk about it as we go through all the rest of the stuff. But Anton, could you? Tomato talked a little bit about in his post-match interview about that Webby gave them little tips or little hints about how Penrith play.
Yep.
Do you know what those things were? Because I couldn't really figure it out. But what do you think that interpretation of what he's trying to say there was?
No, I don't know. I mean, there'll be little nuances in the way that they defend, most likely, and also ways to limit the effectiveness of the back three. I think we handled them pretty well, considering the meters that they normally sort of chew through in a game. So I think those two things for me are the things that you worry about the most, because if they're getting tackled second tackle and they're on halfway, like that's not what you want. And I think that's actually why for a while I've been annoyed that we haven't been looking for repeat sets and knocking through small grubbers and that. But I actually think that they are strategically moving away from trying to do that, because once you put the ball into the end goal, there's no guarantee now that you're going to get it back. Because with the short dropouts and stuff, it's actually 50-50. So you're actually better to finish your set a meter off the goal line. And that's why you're seeing the big bombs and stuff like that. It gets a bit repetitive and doesn't always work. But even the fact that if you run it on the last and get tackled 6 inches from the goal line, that's better than if you put it into the end goal, or if you kick it dead accidentally, or you lose the short dropout. But yeah, in terms of what those nuances were about the Penrith game, man, I've got no idea, but it clearly worked. I think those short balls, like you say, to the centre, rather than hitting the second rower or going with the long balls to the winger, because you're right, they weren't jamming. They were staying wide.
They're holding off, yeah.
They were right. And especially for Tungle. Tungle is a guy who's got heaps of skill, but he does have his weaknesses on that inside shoulder. I've noticed that over the last few weeks, there's been a few tries scored down that along that channel. So it's good to see, that paying off for us.
Yeah, I think that was the actual adjustment that I really liked, is they used the centers as like lead runners, and just instead of playing 3 out the back, with it's usually fullback, center, and wing, they played like 2 out the back and just kept that center and that half engaged the whole time. I was like, that's really smart. And then I just love chances, like you said, the double pump tie. Man, he was on that that first short side raid, and Montoya broke through. I was like, whoa, CNK is on here today, man. But no, it was a wonderful game. I just want to jump quickly on the new Generation X. Paulie Roach, Laban Leatoa was far out. And I suppose going with your kind of thoughts on Anton about these young guys coming in to impress. A lot of cries for, obviously, we're getting to the team list about Paulie Roach. Are we too, we're obviously high on emotion. Do a lot of these guys need just more time to build consistency and those types of things before we say, hey, Leatoa in right now, or Paulie Roach needs to be on the bench? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because I think while you are kind of wanting to field your best side every week, other clubs will come sniffing around if they're your second or third drop, and they're just destroying teams in New South Wales Cup. So I think they will get their chances. Ideally, these guys wouldn't be playing, especially Laban, probably wouldn't be playing as much NRL as he is right now. You usually have a season where you're that number 17 guy playing 15 minutes at the back end of games, just to get a feel of it, sort of thing. Like the fact that he's playing 65 minutes and not looking out of place whatsoever is a real credit to him and how hard he's been working. It's really good. But, honestly, with some of these guys out, no Kurt Capewell, no Marata Niukore, for me, he has been such a massive loss in terms of what happens in the middle, and just having a guy that a defensive line is not happy about seeing in the lineup. He's a scary motherfucker, that guy, man. He's so big, and he's like, he's been out for so long with that foot injury because he's got such big feet, I reckon. So I think he's he's just one of those guys that you need, those intimidators in your line. You need someone who's genuinely scary. So I think when those guys are all fit, and we've seen him named today, obviously I don't want to sort of jump the gun, but he, having him named there, you'll start seeing as guys come back, you'll see these guys start dropping out a bit. But it's great that they're getting a taste, and it's great that they're not looking out of place at all.
Yeah, no, they. I just wanted to, for you, Ty, someone that was scary, Leatoa, man. He looked he looked like a wrecking ball. It was going to be a massive wrecking ball. Where are we at with a like of a Leatoa, and do we need to temper his progress and development as well? similar to Laban? Or is he ready in your eyes? Is he? What do you think?
Well, when you look at who we got there, right in our centers, we've got Roger and Pompey. Looks like they're going to be on that one side, and then you've got Rocco potentially in front, obviously in front of him, and then him. I like his game. I don't know if you guys noticed when he scored that try. It wasn't just a simple running into a hole. He actually deviated into the hole.
Yes.
So I think for me, it shows that he's got a lot more IQ than most, and he actually can spot things. And hey, maybe it's his uncle rubbing a few, telling a few tricks and what to do. But like, I like the way the guy plays. Obviously it looked like he got his ankle hit in a tackle, and it looked like it affected him. There was times where he got beaten inside because of that. So not to say it was just the ankle, but there's still things he's trying to learn at an NRL level. But I do like him as a player, and I also do like that he's got people in front of him, so it's him trying to work into that position. But yeah, he's a great player, and I just want to touch on the other Labour man. He's got a motor, Like he's got a real big motor, and for a young boy to be out there doing it, I shouldn't say boy, young man out there doing that stuff. Like it's cool to see what we have in the wings if players are not ready. And we've had Capewell get injured a couple of times. We've had a few positional changes in that second row. To know Laban's in the wings, it's really awesome, man. You guys already touched on Roach. I think it's going to be interesting this week because I feel like he's a bit more offensive. Like he can D, but he's a bit more offensive minded. Where I feel Lussick is really just a D hooker. So I wonder if we're going to get quality ball out of the hooker position because I thought he did really well providing good ball. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm interested in this week.
Yeah. No, definitely. Just want to talk on Anton. You got a good point. No one looked out of place. Is that a good reflection of? I mean, this is second year technically of Cumberson's coming home of our development systems. How do you rate the system we're in? And yeah, is showing good signs for the future in your eyes?
Well, yeah, absolutely. All the things that are needed for successful development long term are in place now. They haven't been. So we're not probably going to see the results of some of this, kind of Harold Matt style and SG Ball success until, probably 3, 4, 5 years later. But I think with Ali, that New South Wales Cup team has had a lot of senior players in there too. It wasn't long ago where Tamaite Martin was playing half with Chanel. So it's a quality team. Like just forgetting about the fact that it's a New South Wales Cup team, there's some really quality players in that lineup that they'll be picking their brains off and all that sort of stuff. And Ali as well, even though everybody's kind of saying they're real high on him, it wasn't that long where Rocco Berry, was still cutting his teeth. Everyone was saying he had great potential, but he obviously had a lot of weakness in his game. You just got to give these guys some time. And he's at a different point in his development, Rocco, now. He's a couple of years ahead of Ali. So Ali's just got to be a bit patient as well. Like the fact that he's getting a taste of NRL is a real bonus. He probably wouldn't be, I don't think, in the picture in a fully fit side if we go all season. Adam Pompey played every game for us last year. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck won the Dally M. So it's a fairly stacked position for us. But the fact that we've got someone who is essentially a rookie coming through but can hold their own, that's not always the case. And often the time when they make that jump, they get found out pretty quick. But you saw even in Croker's 300th, he was marking Jerry Croker on his 300th game, and he basically got nothing past him all night. So he's clearly got talent, and he clearly has the IQ, like you say, bro. And he's got that awareness to him as well for a guy who's got the physical size that he does. It's a real asset, and it's pretty exciting for the future. But I just think we all just need to be patient with him, just like all the other guys. They will get their shot, but it's just about kind of recognizing the stage that they're all at in their development.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing for young bucks is just consistency. I remember Ali had a good stint, and then he had a period where he dropped off a little bit. I mean, if you really think about Ali, he's done very well to keep a kind of play to a decent level. I mean, it's so hard to play. Honestly, Laban and Paulie Roach and Leotoa, and they'll have a big game like that, but they could easily drop back to the mean if just because they need that time to develop and grow. So I think we all need to kind of temper that expectation sometimes. But it's just so hard to be so excited when you have those classic warriors matches like that. But yeah, I love those comments, guys. No,
The
that's awesome.
the one thing I will say about Ali as well, though, I'm really glad he wasn't playing in that Roosters game.
Yeah,
Just for his confidence and for his kind of, like, you don't want these guys. It's like when you see those struggling clubs that are at the bottom or whatever, and they've got all these injuries and they got young guys coming and they're getting thumped by 50 points. Those guys aren't learning a hell of a lot in that point, to standing under the goalposts. You don't want that to be their first experience in a Warriors jumper. So he'll take that magic round moment, and now, that's an amazing thing to hold on to when you're playing your trade and cup. I think it's great.
Yeah. No,
totally.
absolutely. Awesome, boys. Thank you for that discussion. Hey, 90 people in here, please. Can we get the likes up? I'm not sure where they're at, but we're trying to aim for 50. We've got special guests, guys. Take care of these guys. They've come on here and given their time up. We've got a Manaki Tanga. There's our Manuhiri right here. Pump up the likes. But I appreciate everyone in here. We're going to just jump into the team list now, guys. I think we're all excited to get into it. I'm just going to read it off here. Taintuo Piki at fullback, Dallin and Montoya are on the wings, Rocco Berry at right centre, and Pompey at left centre. Then you got Chance in the halves at 5'8", and Tamari at halfback. AFB, we talked maybe there might have been a little bit of a niggle. We weren't sure. His numbers were a little bit low, but he's listed. We can talk about that. Freddie Lussick, guys, is starting hooker. Buntia 4 is starting. Hey, have some bunty chat with my man Anton as well. Jacko Ford, Mitch Barnett, and Dylan Walker. And then on your bench at the moment, you got Tom Ale, Jazz Tavanga, Jacob Laban, and Marata. He's finally back. And then the 18th man at the moment is Paulie Roach. Chanel's in there as well, number 20. Zion, Ed, and more. That's Graham Talfa. So, Ty, man, looking at that team list, we've got the addition of Lussick. Marata's back. What's your overall thoughts on what Webby's gone with here? He's got the option of even Chanel's coming back. Do you think this is the kind of a right team list for this game coming up? What's your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, like I'll say it's the right team list in terms of I think the system and the greater goal he has for this team. Like personally, I would have loved to seen Roach get another shot and be in there. I know starting at 9, just after the game and 2 all-out points, just thinking that now we found a special person that we can just chuck him up there. I would love to have seen him get another shot personally. But I also understand that, not that there's a hierarchy necessarily, but I think this comes back to what we were just alluding to, that, cool that Roach had a great game, but, we do have someone like Lussick, and if he can perform to his greatest ability, he can provide something in that middle. And I think we'll be in there just making sure that, there's a culture here we're trying to create, not just trying to chuck in and put players in, randomly. We want to make sure that this is a cohesive team. Everyone knows that you've got a shot and your shot will come. So that's what I was thinking about when I saw the team list. But to have Marata back, I'm happy, man. I think we've been not missing, but just having him, his experience, and I feel he strikes fear. And let's be honest, he went off a couple games last year because he was throwing. He's coming out of that line and putting on some shots. So I think when you've got someone like him on the bench, obviously controlled aggression is always great. Teams will be wary that if he comes on, he's going to be running hard and, potentially put a shot on as well. So just having him on the bench is great. It is all, not just middle forwards, but it's all forwards. There's no hooker replacement. So, potentially Tavanga and Walker could go in there, but I feel like them staying in their kind of running positions is better for them. And just kind of wonder around the hooking position personally, just, I hope it goes well, but can also see how potentially it could be challenging in the weekend.
Yeah, your thoughts, Anton, about the team, and also the decision for Lussick over Roach.
Yeah. So first thoughts. Well, I was kind of hoping before this happened that we stayed as consistent with the selections as possible from last week. Obviously, we've got a structure that's completely brand new that's going to change again after the bye when Sean gets back. So the more we can roll on from that last win, the better. Ali's not named anywhere, so he's injured. I take it. Yep. Okay. Yep. So that sorts that out. Rocco straight back in, which is cool. Happy with everything else. I don't think that interchange stays that way for game day. I just don't see how we carry 4 forwards that size on the bench, especially with Freddie Lussick coming off a concussion. He just spent a week on the sidelines because of a concussion. So I would be very surprised to not see either one of Roach or Harris Tavita come onto the bench. That would probably see one of Laban or Ale drop off, I would imagine, probably Tom Ale, with Tavaga and Murata playing through the middle. Or we could see Murata or Laban move to an edge and Mitch Barnett move back into the prop rotation, which would be pretty cool because while it's good to have him able to play on the edge, I just don't rate his ability to break a line and offload and tackle, that kind of thing. I just much prefer him in the middle now, having seen him what he can do at prop and his defense in the middle in particular. So yeah, I reckon there'll be a late change on game day. And yeah, we don't really know whether Murata is going to be 100% either. Maybe they've named him because he's scary. But sometimes coaches do these things. It's not unusual to see them name a team of people who are fit, just to name a team, and then it changes. So I would kind of expect to see someone slip into that 14 role who's a bit more agile than Tom Ale.
Just your thoughts, Ty, on the attack. I suppose we'd probably play a similar style. I mean, the key guys in the keepers, Tane, Chance, Tamaide, Freddie, and Walker. Do we maintain the similar attacking style that we did against Penrith, and how will that go against a team like the Dolphins for you?
Yeah, like you kind of want to. I hope so. Again, we got the dub. There's still a lot more to work on, but I think the pace that they ran it at, it kind of like, again, not having Johnson there, obviously it looked a bit different, but at the same time, there was similarity in just the way that we did kind of set up too. So I feel like, yes, we should be running the same way. Yes, keep it at pace. I think it's going to be really interesting against the Dolphins. I personally would have someone like Penrith and above them, but obviously they didn't have someone like Cleary in there to kind of guide their team. But the Dolphins have been winning. They're on a bit of a streak right now too. So it's going to be interesting to just see how we go up against them. Because with Panthers, I could kind of pick out where we should attack and what we should do, just because know a bit more around the attack. Where I feel when I watch the Dolphins, they like to spread the ball, move the ball around. It's kind of really hard to judge how that's going to actually play out in the weekend, personally.
Yep, their strength is their speed. If you go from like 1 to 5, you've got the Hammer, Isako, Avarillo, Farnworth, and Jack Bostock. Like, if all of those guys can, once they break the line, are able to be gone. Like if you've got Adam Pompey chasing, that he probably doesn't catch any of those guys. So, but in saying that, they do have a lot of defensive reads go wrong for them on their which side? Left side. So on Avarillo's side. So I think we could see a bit more attention on that right-hand side this week, with Dallin in the action a bit more, which would be cool to see because he's had a couple of quiet weeks. But yeah, they seem to play the ball expansive, like early in sets. They're not afraid to throw the ball around. So if we're playing that really structured game and trying to wait for the error, I think they're going to give us chances. They are going to make errors. It's just that we've got to stay tight with our defense because they could score 30 points on anyone pretty much on their day.
Yeah, it's far out. They can if we're not tied in. Just quickly going back onto the defense for Penrith, we happy with the overall Anton, the overall, I suppose, contact areas? I thought Laban, everyone kind of really chipped in and manhandled even the likes of Fisher Harris, Eliota, Yo. To'o was so hard to bring down, but they all did a really good job. How do you think they'll go physically against the Dolphins this week?
Yeah, for me, against the Panthers, it wasn't so much the contact. That was really good. We're quite good with the wrestle. For me, it was just the numbering. Like some of those tries when they put it through the hands, like that first one to Dylan Edwards, he almost went through untouched, just went through a roaring gap. And there was another one in the second half where, you could have parked a bus through there. And it's like, well, how did that happen? How do you get a gap that wide? And yes, you're on the back foot and stuff, but you still got to be tighter than that. You still got to scramble a bit better than that. Yeah. So and we were good at that last year. we were really good at that. I know I keep saying last year, but like that's what I'm measuring us against because I've seen us do it. So there's no reason that we can't be that team again. We just we haven't got that sort of cohesion in terms of our spacing, it seems, and our ability to scramble and know where the guy inside us is. It just seems to be a little bit like we rush for the guy, and we don't look at kind of what the numbers are doing there. So I think they are a team that can kind of throw it through the hands pretty quickly. So we're going to need to be on our game a bit more. I think they've got more in their attack than the Panthers had last week.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is kind of a weird thing to say, but the reason I say that is because any one of their players can break you open. Mark Nichols scored a try last week, for crying out loud.
Yeah, absolutely. Ty, I know you. What do you think about our defensive reads, and what do you think maybe the root cause for it? Is it personnel? Is it the system? What's your take on that side of things?
Yeah, good question. Well, I think with the opening try, and I did a little review on it, and it looked like personnel. I think Pompey just got caught a little bit too tight and could probably stayed out. But again, when you have someone like Edwards kind of popping out the back, he's a good fullback too. So what I find interesting with the defensive reads, I know both Dalen and Montoya have been getting a lot of shit about coming in. I felt like they never came in. I felt like they've heard the narrative and they were trying to stay in and hope that their centers could actually cover. So in terms of defensive reads, I think we've got a long way to go. And I kind of don't think, besides a few plays, Panthers chucked some stuff at us. I don't think we were definitely tested, but I just don't think, it was like too crazy of a game. Definitely once we get down to the playoffs, it'll get a lot harder and those reads need to be on personally. But I felt, we got a lot of work, and I don't know if it's a personnel thing. I don't think it's a system thing. I think the system's actually right. I just feel like some people are either just a split second off what they should be doing, and it shows when you're playing, especially got a good fullback that's running out the back end. And Hammer, if that dude at support play he's gone. So I feel like if it's not him carving us around the outside, if anyone gets a half a break and their offload comes out, it's like see you later.
He's such a good guy to watch, bro. I love watching him. Just his running style is just such a cool thing to watch. I mean, not against us, but like normally.
It's not this week.
Yeah,
he is a massive gate. Actually, good comment here by Richard. Watch Marshall King this week. Sneaky dude at 9. Anton, what's your read on? I suppose I rate Marshall King as well, but he is depth around the ruck in similar kind of way to Egan. How do we maintain that ruck integrity and making sure our markers are all really set really well?
Yeah, that's just it. I think all of this comes down to, intensity. And I think just across the board, like even when they're warming up, sometimes you can tell just a little bit like lackadaisical sometimes. And, you kind of like, am I seeing a weird energy here? And then the first 5 minutes, it's kind of like, well, yeah, they're playing like what I was watching in the warm up. Like, but sometimes, like in the last game, they looked like they were up for it and everything was played at speed and up tempo. It doesn't mean we kind of always are going to get the reads right, but you are going to be in a much better position to, have those markers square if you're always on your toes and you're getting straight back up and you're grabbing guys off the play of the ball, because we're just riding that fine line with holding down too long at the moment.
Yeah, we are a little bit.
We're winning the wrestle, which is great. That's how we're getting all of these kind of like slowing down their sets and stuff. But I'm okay with giving a couple away early in the game just to find where the referee's level is, like how much he's going to let you get away with. But once you know that, you shouldn't still be giving those away midway through the second half. We should know that by then. Then it's just fatigue to me. Then that's just a team that's been, made too many tackles and is lying all over the place. So we need to start well, and the intensity needs to be up from the beginning. Otherwise, if we're chasing again, that's where you start having issues.
That's a really good point, intensity. I think that was the big sign I saw from the Penrith game. Intensity was bang on straight away. Now it goes again to what you're talking about. Can this team do it 2 weeks in a row? I mean, that's been one of the big frustrations, is the intensity has gone up and down at different points, even mid-game. So I'm excited to see that, though, and what that will look like on Sunday. I've got the kind of feeling that there was a really good emotional win. on Sunday. I'm hoping it's like the Kickstarter to get everyone kind of like locked in. I think the team will round itself out as injuries get better, but I'm hoping that the intensity maintains for sure. I'd hate
It's
to,
like
like
you
you
said,
said, to see those signs. Yeah,
it's like you said earlier, Ty. I think like it's a confidence one. We just needed that win. We really needed it, and I felt like that the Melbourne game to me was still the game where I reckon we played the best. I reckon that was actually like our best game, and we did enough to win it, but then we didn't win it. And then I think after that, we started losing faith in our, when things weren't working for us, we thought we were playing well. We were doing everything that we were asked of us, and we weren't getting those points. It becomes a bit like, you just start losing your confidence in the lines that you're running, the plays that you're running. You're trying to stick to the program, but at the same time, you're kind of like, well, far out, it's not working, and you start getting frustrated. So it was great to just get that little ego boost of like, hey guys, this does work, especially the territory stuff that we're doing. That does work.
yeah,
It's just about see what happens when you reduce your errors and you reduce those 6 agains, then you give yourself a chance, and we can score points when we keep it simple and we play nice and direct like that. We can score points, and we can certainly score points on this team.
yeah, yep.
Totally.
No, absolutely. Thanks for that, bro. Anything else, Ty, you can think of in terms of that team list? Any areas of concern like that you feel is really you're worried about, or anything that you're really excited about from that squad?
Good. To be honest, I want to see what Chance does again at 6. Like, I'll be the first to say that I was a bit unsure around the selection last week, and just off the experience of A, not playing there, but B, like just having not seen him chuck a long ball. Usually at the back is always usually just the pop pass to the center or the wing. So I'm interested to see actually how he goes again at the 6. I don't know if he actually put a kick in or anything. I know he's not designed to do that, but it's like I feel like sometimes I know a lot of teams have one kicker, base kicker, and then the other one doesn't really kick, but I'm just interested to see if he's got more in the toolkit and see what actually is there.
Yeah.
That double pump, bro, it got there, but it was a little bit ugly. That second pump, I'm just putting it.
Yeah. he just engages the line. Like, I think he's a natural runner, obviously, and when you engage the line, it just draws attention. And I think that's probably his best asset, is that he's not his confidence. Anton, you?
Yeah. You also, I think we've got the luxury of we've got a really good kind of third playmaker, in Tua Piki, and you see this with Reece Walsh out at the Broncos. They've essentially got another 6 out there, and so say if your last tackle play they've rushed you or whatever, he's not in the line. He's at the back ready, so he can actually take that ball and use his pace to put himself into a position to reset and start another play. You're not flat-footed getting the ball like like we have in the past. To have a guy that's actually got a kick in him out the back is such a bonus, even for your long kicking game. If you get rushed and you can throw it back to Tane and he's going to put it in a good spot. Whereas like for Chance, you throw that out the back to him at fullback on your 30-meter line. It's going to be a hit and hope scenario. You know what I mean? He'll do his best, but that's not his strength. But he, like you say, he's a good runner, and you've seen a lot of successful sides. They're okay with that. I remember Laurie Daly wasn't known for his short kicking game. I remember just his running game next to Ricky Stewart was just like elite. The two together worked so well, and I think that's okay. I think you can have that so long as you have a couple of options back there who are handy with the boot.
Absolutely. I think we've got some bigger issues for this weekend. This one here from Jose: how do we beat Kaufusi and the reverse fade? You boys would ever think about getting a reverse fade?
Yeah.
If you're born,
Ever. I'll just cut it straight off if I have to.
Somebody called it the other day like a reverse Jonah Lomu. He basically had the little triangle
the top at the back.
The back. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe he looks like him from behind. I'm not sure.
Boys, I'm receding a little bit. I might have to go to the reverse fade in a couple of years' time. Don't call me out if I do. But,
do you, bro? Do you?
do you? No, awesome. Hey, man, let's jump into this combined 17. Some of you may be new to this. I think I've done this with Anton, but we do a combined 17 of the team. I'm just going to pull up this chart here. Been using this for the last couple of weeks. Now, how we do it is we've been doing it the best in that position. So it's whoever's who we think is the best right center, whoever is best left center, best left wing, best right wing, that type of thing. Forwards, we kind of best props out of the two, and then back rows we do usually left and right. So let me just pull up the team lists. I'll just read it out. So we'll start at fullback. Tane Tuopiki versus Hamaso Tabuai Fido. Now, I'll just be the adjudicator. Ty and Anton, if you guys don't mind picking who you would select at the fullback position out of those two. Anyone? Yeah.
Sweet. I like Tane's game, but you can't go against Hammer. So yeah, I'd have to pick Hammer, but I like Tane there.
I'll go Hammer.
Yeah, yep. Hammer it is, people. I think we all respect Tane's game. I mean, he's grown on me a lot, and I just appreciate what he's been able to do. His consistency, and using his size really well. He never does any carries where if he knows he's going to lose a battle, he'll squirm and get shrink even more so that he can kind of wriggle his way out of tackles. But yeah, I love him. Hammer, have you guys been watching much of Hammer this year?
Yeah.
How's he he looked insane on Magic Round.
Oh, he just creates so much space, man, with his speed. It's a bit like Walsh, he'll have, it could be a 3-on-3 on one side, but then he just does that little explosion of pace and suddenly it's a 2-on-1 on the outside. Yeah, he's and like his kick returns too. Sometimes he can just make a break straight up the guts. Like, there's just, he's just really instinctive and like a really good runner of the ball, but he's also got great awareness too. Doesn't have a kick like Tane though.
Yeah.
Got to find something to pull him back on.
We're gonna find.
I think for Hammer too, it's almost like he's like nonchalant about the way he goes about things too. Like it looks like especially
it looks so easy.
Just finds a gap, and then it's funny. I don't know about if you guys watched the game against the Tigers, but it's like his eyes light up once he's got that gap and he's got the ball. His eyes light and he's just on. So it's really cool to watch.
Very iconic. Very, very cool. Okay, we got Dallin Watene-Zelezniak versus, I think Jermaine's on the right side for them too, eh? So Jermaine Isako. Shivers, that's a good battle.
Right. Yep.
Where are you guys at with that position there?
I would go Isako personally. I just love what I saw from him in the Kiwis jumper. He's a goal kicker. And I just think he ices so many of their plays. He sort of defensively, he looks really good as well. That's honestly a really hard one, bro. That's probably, I reckon that's one of the hardest matchups in the whole thing is those two. They're both like real classy wingers, but I would just say a couple of the defensive sides of Dallin's game, the lack of confidence at times right now would have
on form.
Right now in form, I'd have to pick Isako, but it's like we are splitting hairs a little bit.
Yep.
I'm on the same kind of If we're talking form, I think Isako's been playing a bit better. If we're talking all time, I'm definitely picking Dalen. And I think what obviously Isako has to his game is kicking, and he did miss a kick last week. So that's the added benefit that the Dolphins do have. I'm just gonna slightly pick Dalen, only because he's got the ability. It's just a confidence thing. But his form hasn't been as great as Isako's.
Also, intercept king that comes into it. He's pretty handy with the Dalen. Oh, see, I'm seesawing now. I don't know what I'm doing.
We'll say we stay with Isako. I'll give it to him. I think, or I think just current form in the microcosm of what 3 or 4, 5, 6, whatever weeks it is. I think we'll give it to Isako there. Happy to do that. Right center. Berry versus who's their right center? Is it Avarillo's on? Is Avarillo on the right?
That's Avarillo.
Sheesh, that's a good battle too. Different style a little bit. Anton, who you got on that one?
I got Rocco actually in that one. Averillo, to me, I've always seen him as more of a 6. Again, he's really quick, but just defensively at times he's just he shoots up quite quickly and creates overlaps on the outside. And so I would go with Rocco in that one.
Cool. Ty?
Yeah, same assessment. Again, I think Rocco's form on defense has been a little bit off too. Like I like the kick chase we do, and he gets down there, holds that well, but some of the initial contact on the line, he's slipped off and players have gone forward. So I will give it to Rocco on this. I do think he beats Averillo on this one.
Averillo's speed is like the speed, like we talked about speed earlier. It's just a lot of speed. It's going to be a great game for the outsides, man. But yeah, definitely.
Actually, speaking of, while we're on that too, there was a game that there was a miss Rocco did. I'm pretty sure it was Rocco against the Titans from a scrum.
Yeah,
and he just got sort of Albert Kelly. No, not Albert Kelly. Brian Kelly. Yeah, just went round him.
Just got him
just with a little in and away and just completely skinned him. And he's not like super quick, but that should just not happen off a scrum. That first contact is so important with these guys because they're all so quick. You've really got to make good contact on that first with that first tackle.
Totally.
Yeah. So it's a big watch on Rocco.
Yeah, just to see if it's concerning if it's a couple weeks in a row. Hopefully, I just think he'll be fresh and maybe. But yeah, great test. Farnworth as well on that attacking him. We will jump over to that left center. Farnworth versus who have we got? Pompey. Where are you guys sitting of that?
If we're going over last week's form, I actually would put Pompey in front of him because Farnworth was chopping that ball like crazy. But as a player, Farnworth has got. I think he's a real strong center, to be honest. So I'm picking Farnworth on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Herbie. Yep. Yeah, I think that's And I mean, want to give a big shout out to Pompey. Like, if there's ever a guy that's been ridiculed and slammed and everything stoned, it's just nice to. I think I love what about his the way he operates. Yes, he can get caught on the outside. We know those vulnerabilities are always going to be there, unfortunately. With his little bit of his leg speed. But just his little details and attack, little work rate numbers are always really good. Yardage numbers. Just want to give a shout out to Pomps. I think he's still a good player. But yeah, got to go Farnworth there. Jumping onto the left wing, Montoya versus who we got here? Bostock. That's a good one. Bostock's been looking good too. I'll go to you, Anton. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that one?
I'm going to go for Bostock. I think he's a really good finisher. He's a target man in the air. He's about 6'5". He's huge, really tall kid, and it just seems every game he plays, he gets better and better. As much as I like Marcelo, and I think his effort and the speed at which he plays the game is awesome. But I just think the speed of Jack Bostock and his ability to score some of those tries that he scores when he just reaches out from about 3 meters out and somehow gets the ball down. I just think it's a real skill to have out on the edges there. So for me, I'd be going for Bostock. Maybe controversial, but yeah, he'd be my pick.
Ty?
Yeah, no, I was saying not controversial at all. I think I'll go with Bostock as well. I think Marcelo had one of his better games in the weekend, though. I think he actually played really well. And it looked like a confidence thing. Maybe it was a master stroke to put him down there in New South Wales Cup and get his confidence up and then come back up. Because I think he played well. But Bostock's I had no idea of him before coming into NRL, but every game I've watched of him, he's kind of been safe, and that's what you kind of want in a wing to be especially safe on their defense. And like you said, he's got length to reach out to the line when they're right there too. So I'll go Bostock on that one.
A little bit of finishing too. I think he benefits obviously from having a really good backline, and when they're on. But yeah, I rate it in terms of his consistency. He's been pretty good. Yeah, I'll go Bostock there as well. Okay, now halves. We've just been picking the best halves, so it can be two from you could be their halves or our halves, doesn't matter. So it is Chance and Tamaire, Cody Nikorima or Isaiah Katoa. So you got four to choose from, two to choose from those four. Who would you guys choose, Anton?
This is really hard, actually,
It is.
because I think I like different players depending on who you pair them with. Like I think in terms of a number 7, Isaiah Katoa has been just playing so well. The way he's been kicking and setting up tries and things. I'm gonna go with I'll go for Tamaire and Cody Nikorima. Those are my two.
Yep. Oh, cool. Ty?
This is a hard one. Like I feel like I'm cheating picking Chance because he's not a natural half, but I feel like he's got a lot to offer. And yeah, like this is a tough one for me. I like how Timati played in the weekend, but I feel that we haven't had the opportunity to see him play like that throughout the year. So on that, I'm personally going to go with Katoa, and I'm just going to be a cheater and put Chance as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so funny. It's like the opposite picks, but like I'm all about that as well. I think that's equally as good. Like, 100%. Isaiah Katoa, like if anyone's been watching him lately, like his development this year has been massive. Like he's been a guy who last year was kind of in and out of the team a little bit, but this year he just seems to have really owned that number 7 journey, number 7 sort of jersey. And Sullivan's not really in the picture. It's just pretty much him, and he's setting up 3-4 tries a game when you watch these guys play, and he's only a young guy too, so. Really, really impressive halfback coming through for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry.
I was gonna say.
No, go, Ty.
I was gonna say if Cody was at 14, he'll be on my team. But but I just feel I've seen a massive improvement in Katoa's game. I think it's been a confidence thing for him, and he's starting to show up for the Dolphins. Hence the reason why they're doing so well this year as well.
Yeah. Other thing for him as well is like it's really awesome for Tonga. Because for ages they've really lacked a game controlling half. They just haven't had one. They've had these massive packs that are like real scary, awesome outside backs, great finishes, but they just need that really awesome game controller. I mean, he'll be the man for 10 years for Tonga for sure.
For sure.
Unless there's some kind of injury.
I think Tonga, and even that's just flashing back to that series, I think it's always difficult to play in England, but especially the conditions is quite hard to. But if he plays on a dry track over here in the Pacific Championships, they'll kill it.
And he was so young too. He was so young doing that.
I'll give that to Katoa. The 7, 6. Who would you take, Tamaire or out of those three, Tamaire, Nikorima, or Chance? Now you said Chance, Ty, and you. What about you, Anton?
I went for Nikorima, but I mean.
How's Nikorima?
I think that's just because his speed around the ruck is really dangerous. Like when he runs the ball and puts the foot down, and we know this from his Warriors days too. I think a lot of fans used to say that he didn't do it often enough. And then when he did it too much and something went wrong, everyone would get annoyed with that as well. He seemed quite a marginalized figure in our team for a long time. But I also think it was just. He really loves playing for Wayne. Like he's a Wayne Bennett boy. Like so many players that are out there, they just seem to find an extra 10% whenever they take the field for a Wayne Bennett team. So he's looked awesome as well. And again, it's that speed to get on the outside and create that extra space. He's got a really good pass on him. He's got a good short kick. I think he's got a few more strings to the bow at 6.
Yep. Yeah. I agree. I only picked Chance because I'm cheating and. Wish I could have put it somewhere, but I think Nikorima's got a lot to his game, and I think he's been playing well this year. He had his moments with us at the Warriors, and he's always had this kind of narrative of him since back in the Broncos, under 20s that he's going to be something. I think him and Katoa have been quite good this year, so Nikorima makes sense as well.
Yeah, we'll give it to Nick. We'll give them the halves. It's fine. I think Chance. Obviously on the game, I think Katoa will be good. I think Chance will have a big game too. But we gotta be call it what it is. It's fair. Okay, we'll get into the front row. We have AFB. Actually, we'll do a combined 4 of them. AFB, Jesse Bromwich, Mark Nichols, and Bunty are 4. Who of those 4 would be your 2 props?
Me personally, I'd take our 2. If it was 8 years ago, Jesse Bromwich, 100%.
Yeah.
But it's not, unless he's got a time machine handy. Then I can't go there. And Marky the Goat Nichols, seen him score. He scored a couple of weeks ago too. He ran 40 meters to score. I think he was worried that he was going to drop it or something was going to get struck by lightning or something. But there's always a crowd favorite when he makes a break. But I just think I'm always going to pick Bunty, right? It's my thing. And Adam is the best of the 4, so I'm going with those 2.
Yeah, that's a valid argument. Ty, what would you go for?
Yeah, I agree with the argument. Definitely AFB by a long shot out of the 4. Yeah, definitely if it was Jesse 8 years ago, it'd be a no-brainer. I like Bunty's game, man. Sorry, Anton, if this because this isn't criticism. This is just I think there's a lot more potential and we just haven't seen it from him yet. I think he tries to work, he does his hardest, but I do think there's a lot more in him that I wish we could see as a Warriors team. And maybe it's just getting more time, and especially starting that we might start to see something. So I'm only going Bunty on the fact that he actually provides a little bit more, not a little bit more, but work rate. His work rate's better than Jesse's, but Jesse's leadership too is kind of making me think: is it is he wants to pick? The only thing that making me not want to pick Jesse is because I think he stayed at the Storm too long, and the Burrow holds down those tackles like there's no 3-second count or anything. So
it's like he's not like he's hitting snooze on the alarm clock. There, he's just staying in bed.
It's like it's like in wrestling when the ref's outside and the guy's got them pinned, and we're waiting for the ref to come and he's half knocked out. 1, 2. It's like this guy holds down forever, man.
Oh, bro, he holds down forever, and then I love it that he sprays the team if they hold down. I'm like,
those Melbourne ways, they're still stuck in that old system where
still stuck there.
Yeah, they love a cuddle. Absolutely, I'll give that to Bunty as well. I actually have no issue with that. And I think in a subtle, like looking at him from, he's not. I mean, I've been watching him hard out, but I know that he's been doing the little details. I mean, you look at his numbers again, wasn't the greatest, and he's not. I don't think he'll ever reach in terms of what we value in terms of a running, but damaging front rower. But the little things, his little work around the ruck, I think he'll be an important guy. Him and Jazz, especially, making sure that ruck, those markers are square, everything's tidy, no little gaps for JMK, things like that. I think that would be really important for me. Actually, quickly, Anton, your thoughts on him overall this season?
Well, that's his strength. He's not a stat guy. He's not a guy. If you haven't watched the game and then you look at the stat sheet and you kind of go, well, he hasn't played many minutes and he hasn't really done much. Like, what's the point of having him in the team? When I'm watching the game, and I'm watching his quite closely because I'm aware of how many people say that about him, and it usually has me tagged in it somewhere, rubbing my nose in it. But it's there's little things like just he's really good in the wrestle and kind of slowing that play down that first 20 and absorbing that initial pressure. The other thing is as well is when the Panthers were making breaks through the middle last week, when they got through that first or second tackle, he was often the one who was cleaning up at the back. He made a lot of secondary tackles once someone had made a tackle break. Like he did it on Edwards about 3 times. So it's just that kind of that size presence in the middle, I think is where his value is, and also just getting those little things right in the ruck. I think that's his strength. But he's never going to be the sexiest pick in terms of like, say, if Mitch Barnett was starting there, you just go, I file Barnett 1-2. But when it gets to Bunty, it becomes this kind of gray area with like eye test and all that sort of jazz. It's not necessarily something where you can just measure up stats. It's the same thing for Bromwich with his mana when he runs out there and his leadership sort of qualities. You can't really it's hard to quantify what that would bring to a team.
Yeah. No, good call. We'll go to the hooker now. Who we got here? We got JMK versus Freddie Lussick. I mean, you got to go Freddie Lussick. Nah, that'd be sad. Now, what's your guys' thoughts on that one?
Yeah. JMK. He probably did he get injured? Probably would have been in their Kiwis jersey. And I just think he's just got a bit more tools in the toolkit. If I had to be honest, and he does like to snipe as well. I wouldn't say he's the best hooker going around personally, but I do think he's just got a bit more in the toolkit than Lussick has. And I think Lussick, although the Roosters games will prove me wrong, but I think defensively, he can match most times, but I just don't see much on attack personally. So JMK gets that one for me.
Yeah, same here. I'm not gonna extrapolate anymore. I think that's quite an easy pick by the other one standards.
Absolutely. Left back row. I think we're rolling Mitchie Barnett at the moment. Hey, and he's captain. Didn't see that.
Yeah, he's captain last week. He was real awkward in the presser too. He's like, he didn't really know what to say. He didn't know how to be happy about something.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, 4 weeks.
Yeah. Whereas like Webby was all relaxed, and he was like, I
think he was when you're really tired and you just zone out as well. Like his eyes were just like he was staring off in the face.
Like just real scared he was going to get a question where he had to think about something off the cuff. Yeah. Please don't ask me a hard one. What's the square root of 420?
You can never go wrong with that. Full credit to the boys. That's always
that's it.
That's the go-to.
Right. Yeah.
Mitchie B versus Felice. I think is Felice still on the left edge there? Was he on the right at the moment?
No, he's on the right, I think.
So that would be
Ewan Aitken's on the left.
Ewan versus Mitchie B. Where are we at, boys, with that one?
Ewan Aitken's playing awesome at the moment, man. He's running real hard and real direct, but he runs his line like a center. So he's actually got some pace. So when he breaks through that line, it stays broken. He can put the foot down and actually sprint away for a try, which is a real handy thing to have as a edge back rower, and he's a good defender as well. Having said that, I just think Mitch actually offers more because of his ability to come in and play in the middle as well. And I think what his defense brings to the overall team just it lifts the entire team when you see him putting on some of those shots and stuff, and the places he goes to with his aggression. So for me, it's not by much, but I'd be picking Mitch Barnett.
Yep. You as well, Tom?
I'm saying Mitch Barnett. I think you said it previously, Anton. I'd love to see him actually in the prop rotation. I like when he's actually in the middle.
We might too. I think that might be a late change if we get someone else come onto the bench and Murata is actually fit. But that would mean we probably have to start Murata or Laban on the edge. I just think he'll probably start the game there, but I could see him playing in the middle in stages for sure.
Yep. So I think for me, no brainer for middle forward. In terms of second row, I still think he has the edge on Aiken. I watched the game on the weekend too, and Aiken does run definitely like his old centre self. I also noticed that Barnett's got quite good work rate, and I think Aiken he chimes in when he's supposed to chime in, and I think for me, I like any forward that's going to try and put their hand up when they're supposed to. So Barnett for me.
Cool.
I remember when Ewan Aitken was playing for the Warriors, I was on a plane with them to Magic Round. We just happened to be sitting next to each other, and I was chatting to him about the whole second row business. And I was just like, "So what do you recommend? What do you like playing?" He was like, "Well, I've played my whole career as a center, so I kind of still see myself as a center." So to me, when I see him playing in the second row, I still think he's like, "Yeah, whatever, bro. I'll just play center." Doesn't really care that he's got like a 12 on his back. He's like, "Whatever, bro. throw me the ball. I'm putting
Just
the
throw me
feet
the
on.
ball
I'm
for
going
me.
for it.
I'll go to it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
if I'm offloading, I'm just going to go for it.
Totally. I feel like I watch him play like a center and second row. Like, centers are usually, well, I'll wait for the ball to come to me. And I feel like he plays second row exactly like
Yeah,
that too.
and he plays wide too. He plays
Yeah,
wide for
he's
a
a
back
really
row.
wide line aim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, man. We'll jump into right back row. We have Jackson Ford versus the old reverse fade.
Finn Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
And Diesel.
Oof. Good matchup. Ty, man, who you got on this one?
We're talking haircuts. I might pick differently, but I'm going with Felice experience. I think Jackson's got a motor. One thing, and I kind of harp on this too much, so sorry, Jackson, but I feel like every game he always touches someone when he's running the front lead. Like it's always like a question of whether we're going to get the try confirmed, because I feel like he always last second makes runs into someone, or even sometimes on defense last second he just maybe questions himself. But I've been liking his game this year anyway. But I think for me, Felice, man, like if he comes out of that line, he can rock you too. And he's a bit on the older side, similar to Jess, but I feel like he's still got a bit more gas in the tank than Jess. So I'm going Felice on this one.
Did you see him play for Tonga in the offseason?
Yeah.
Far out, he was good. He was almost best on ground. Like, he was so good. I was just like, wow, where's this been? Like, just seemed like one of those guys who looked like he was selected for Origin a lot, and you don't really know what he's doing, because the Melbourne team was so good. He didn't stand out because he wasn't one of these guys. But yeah, from all accounts, anyone who's been hit directly by Finn Diesel knows about it. So I'm going to go that way as well. I just think I really rate him as a player, even still. And yeah, and you get a free party out the back with your selection. So like, you got to go for it.
Well, yeah, you guys agree to feed Finn Diesel? Yeah, I think maybe work rate wise, you'd probably go forward overall work rate. But yeah, I think there's still some elements to Felice's game that obviously, wins out on this one. Got no issue with that. Now the lock, starting locks, we got Dylan Walker versus Max Plath. Plath, I'm not sure which it is, but who we got on that one, boys?
For me, it's Walker. Max the psychopath. Plath is he's a real up and comer. I could see him playing for Queensland some days. Just one of those types of guys, just real rough and ready. No self preservation, nuggety, aggressive, just in your face. One of those guys that if you're an opposition fan, you probably don't like him very much. But so's Dylan Walker. He's like that as well. But I think he's got a bit more intelligence and IQ about his game now. Whereas in his younger days, I feel like it was just coming from a place of just straight up aggression. But the stuff we're seeing him doing now, I think is it's just completely lifting our entire attack. And defensively, he's been really good as well, working in tandem with Jazz and stuff. I can't go past Walker there.
Yep. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. Definitely Dylan Walker there. Everything that's already been said, and I agree. Max is very much I think he's a bit more nuggetier, goes for it than Cotter, but there's kind of a similar game I feel when I'm watching both of them. But Dylan Walker takes that one.
Yep, well, Walker for sure. Absolutely, I agree with that as well. Okay, that rounds out the 13. Look, we win majority of the. Well, not majority. It's actually quite even in the front, in the forwards, 3 and 3, and then their backline just at the moment kills us. Just quickly on the Phins, are they legit? First, are they legit top 8 this year?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. They're legit top 8. Where and I think it's hard to judge right now because so many teams have got really important players out. No Tommy Turbo, no Fogarty, no Adam Reynolds, no SJ. No, there's a lot of teams that have got no Nathan Cleary. There's heaps of players missing from heaps of teams. These guys are pretty much full strength. They may have 1 or 2 out, but they're pretty much full strength now, and that's a huge advantage. And they just have so many points in them with, and you're seeing that reflected in the back line there, just the amount of speed and attack they've got out the back. I think they are a team who can put 30 points on pretty much anybody in the comp. But the problem is they can also let 30 in. So they kind of have to score 30. They're that kind of team. And so far they have been. But it remains to be seen whether once you get to finals footy and things tighten up again, whether that's good enough, or whether the top teams find another gear and they can't go with them. So yes, top 8, but it'll be an amazing story if a team that's only just been in the comp for 2 years goes all the way to like, you know, a prelim or a grand final like that. How good would that be for the sport in general? But yeah, I think they're absolutely beatable on any given week, with just those, you know, defensive frailties in mind, and the fact that they spread the ball a lot. So that inevitably comes with risk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like their team. They're fun to watch. They're a really fun team to watch.
It's funny you mentioned injuries as well. Weren't they injury riddled last year?
Oh yeah.
And now it's hitting other teams. You know, I think they've gone through this cycle of injuries, and obviously I think they've recruited well. Little pieces, Farnworth. Who was the other one? The front row from Broncos. A few other pieces I'm sure they've made. But yeah, no, good. Like, happy for them. Happy for them. And they're just one of those teams that just like they're not. You know, doesn't seem like they're in the media a lot. They're just sort of grinding away, doing their thing. Like, you know, you look at that squad and nothing stands out, you know, apart from Fido and maybe a few others. But ultimately, just graft and toilers, you know, hard workers, and built off that kind of structure. So yeah, no, I think top 8, definitely. I think they're in for it.
I was just going to comment on there. I feel, I think they definitely could make the top 8. The jury's still out for me. I think to that last point you shared around no one really stands out. I feel like that's kind of where I'm iffy, because if you look at the middle table, I'm still iffy. Dragons are even going to stay around a 9 position, but I still think a Sea Eagles, a Cowboys, and even us can tip them out. So I think they definitely can make the 8, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes when we all start getting our players back and start seeing what the results are.
Can they sustain?
They had a good early draw too.
Yeah, favorable draw. Yep.
That was good. The first 8 weeks, they were kind of big circles on my my super coach watch list in the first 8 weeks. That's for sure.
No, very nice, very nice. Okay, guys, let's just run this off quickly. So just the best 4 players. So you've got 8 to select from. So you got Tom Ale, Jazz Tavanga, Jacob Laban, Marata Newcordy. And for them, Josh Kerr, Kenny Bromwich, Ray Stone, and Corneli Lemuelu. Who out of those 8? Who out of those 8 would you pick 4 of? Yeah.
I'm happy to jump in. First would be Josh Kerr. I really like him. I like the fact that we were chasing him as well for a while as a signing. Really big, really agile. He can score a try as a front rower. So I think as a front row guy, I like him. Then I go Jazz Tavanga. I just love what he does, his aggression, and his defense. And then I would go Marata Newcordy. I think his versatility and the fact that he brings that aggression and he's just such a huge body. He's just the ideal man off the bench. And then the last guy, who's probably someone that maybe not everyone's familiar with, is Lemuelu, and he's
Corneli's great.
He was a signing from the Cowboys. He played for the Dolphins last year, and he is just like if you watch him play, he hangs quite wide, but he's also like really skillful. He's got a kick on him, and he just finds the line. He just seems to score way more than he should. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts on the edge for Felice, perhaps. Or if Felice Kafusi goes to 13 and he starts on the edge, because he was a late change last week and he played 80. And he's also got amazing eyeliner like Reece Walsh. He's one of the few forwards that have the courage to
is he on the eyeliner? Is he
the full pluck? Like, you know, it looks like Cleopatra out there.
Very nice.
So a little bit of style in my number 17.
That was Kerr, Tavanga, Marata, and Corneli. Who for you, Ty?
Definitely Marata. He's definitely in there for me. Just, you know, he could be definitely starting, but I can see that the Warriors I definitely like the ability to bring him off I'll bring him on when obviously they've got a bit more tired team. So yeah, Murata's there. Jazz, like if I had to be honest, the start of the year I was a bit unsure of what he was up to in terms of his play. But I think over the last couple of weeks, especially I think definitely last week, and there were moments in the Roosters game, and can't remember the game, but he scored that try to the previous week. Like I think he's starting to be a bit more consistency back into his game, and he's always going to play aggressive, but whether it's going to be holding the ball and actually putting something together. So definitely Tavanga in there. In terms other two, I like Ali and Laban, but I think there's some of the Dolphins. I'll have to go. I have to go with Kenny Bromwich. To be honest, I don't think he's having his best footy, but I do think we talked about the off ball and the stuff that you can't see in stats. I do think he brings a lot in terms of that. And if you need, you can chuck him at 9 or chuck him at 6 if he's randomly. Some of the coaches have done that, which is weird. But I definitely think he's got a lot to his game and still can offer a lot. And then the last one, I'll go Connolly. I loved his try last week. His footwork on the dude, man, was crazy. But yeah, I have to go Connolly as the last pick on the 4.
Yep. And really, so you've gone with Kenny Bromwich, and who was the other one that Josh Kerr? Yeah, it's an interesting one. I rate Josh Kerr as well. Yeah, Kenny, I suppose, give you a little bit of variety, a bit of options. What I think, Anton, you happy with Kerr or Bromwich, or where would you sit on that?
Oh, I'd go for Kerr personally. I think with the selections that I made, I needed another middle, so
yeah,
I went for well, I didn't really. We got near quarter there, but I just like him. I think he's a try scoring front rower, and I think that's a pretty cool weapon to bring off the bench. You can use maybe Tavanga to play 13 if he wants to, but the other two I'll be definitely playing as props. But love me a bit of K-Brom as well, but I just think Master Time's catching up with him a little bit. He's kind of slowing down. His body's getting a bit slower, which is why we're seeing him revert to the bench a bit more. I don't think he's got big minutes in him anymore. And if he got asked to play that, I'm not confident that he could do that. Whereas the other guys are, I think they've got it in them. I'm not. Yeah. I wouldn't be worried about Kenny Bromwich coming at me. Put it that way.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
Again, if he had his time machine, it might be different.
Yeah, I see why like Kerr gets some reps too. He's a very hard forward. Actually, I think it was the Indigenous game a couple of years ago. That was the first time I seen him, and that was like, who's this kid? I don't think is my feeling if it was the last pass and they had to tip it on. I'm going Kenny Bromwich with their tip. So I agree with you guys with Kerr, but I just think Bromwich has just a bit. He doesn't need the play for 80. He just needs to come on 15, do his role, and provide a bit of thing for my team.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you got 3 guys. You got 18 man's bench. We'll leave it like that. But no, I think it's all really good arguments. Man, you look at. Sorry, go, Anton. Yep.
No, sorry, bro. I was just going to say it's a 50-50 split of ours and theirs on the bench anyway. Whichever way you cut it.
Yeah, either way you cut it. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of good.
It's funny if we talk about the squad. I mean, obviously it looks more of a Dolphins team. You have definitely the back line, the halves, and guys, again, the structure in which we made it was the best right, center, best left. So maybe in some of those matchups we probably would have won a few more. But again, I feel confident with how we would play on Sunday. Despite obviously on paper, this is all on paper and theoretical, a lot of it. They're winning some of the areas. I think the forward pack, especially, are seeing our locks, our props, left edge, even Ford and Finn Diesel was a bit of a battle. And then the bench, obviously, Murata Jazz looks really strong. So don't feel as though anything to fear. If we're looking at it on moving into like how we think the game will go. But anyway, that's a good exercise. Thank you guys for participating in that. Some really good chat and good to talk about the Dolphins. Let's move into.
What about the coaches?
Oh.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a tough one, actually.
I'm going to ask
Yeah.
you, Levon. I'm going to ask
Yeah.
you for yours on that one.
Coaches. Interesting. I think it's a tough one. I like. I probably won't argue either or, but I do like what Webby has been through the last 4 or 5 weeks, and then to get a result against Penrith, I think that's really there's some value to that. You could tell in the presses, like every game, he kind of got a little bit quieter and a little bit reserved, and then it felt like he kind of is. Yeah, I've just really enjoyed his press, and everything that he's been preaching still is valid. Even at times, kind of could question what he was saying, but at the same time, it's great to see that the boys pulled. I go back to that. Sorry, my thoughts all over the place, but he ultimately got his system to work with a mix and match halves combination and beat the Panthers without Nathan Cleary. But that Panthers unit is still intact and got a result. I was like, wow, that speaks volumes for me. So yeah, I'll probably favor Webby.
I love what Hosea said in the comments there as well. Wayne Bennett's got more losses than Webby.
Total
He's
losses.
a fact you can't deny.
Yeah. It's like the old RTS has a 100% kicking record.
That's right. Yeah. Same with Paul Gallen in Origin. Yeah. 1 from 1.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, we'll get into score prediction. We're done an hour and a half, guys. We'll wrap it up soon. I know we'll be busy getting a little bit late, but anyway, let's talk about the game. I'll check it to you, Ty. How do you think the game will go, and what's your overall score prediction for the game coming up on this Sunday?
I want to be completely honest. Every time I say this is how the game's going to go, it doesn't go that way. So, I don't know if me saying how the game's going to go is going to be worth it. But on our Warriors Fan TV, we did a prediction, and I said 26-24, and it's always hard to make a prediction before you see the team list because you don't actually know what's going to be out there. But I actually am confident that it will stay that way. I think it's going to be a close one, as even seen in the Combine 17. I still think, even though they got a few more positions than us, I still think there's something with our system that can keep us in the game. And it's a team sport, not an individual sport. So I do believe the boys will get up. And 26-24 to the Wars.
I was just looking at the weather.
I saw windy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to look at it this far out. There's rain either side of it on Sunday, but at the moment it's just looking overcast. But it looks like it might be a little bit sort of gloomy and cold afternoon there in the stands.
I should say that I live quite not close as to the stadium, but not too far, and it's been raining hard here, so high chance it could be rain.
Yeah. I think that actually suits us a bit more, to be honest. The way that they throw the ball around and stuff, I think if we kick well into those corners and they find it hard to run the ball out of there and they start making errors, I think that plays into our hands. I've said that before in wet games, but in theory, it works in my head. I think it will still be quite high scoring as well. I think both teams will score over 20 points. I'm going to say Warriors 29. I don't know who's going to take the field goal, but someone is. And the Phins 26. So I think we'll think the game's in doubt and score a field goal, and then we'll score a try on top just to annoy them. Length of the field try somewhere.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been tossing and turning in terms of putting a bit much into this performance on Sunday. I was 13 plus yesterday for us. But yeah, the more you think about it, you mentioned it, we still have those vulnerabilities in our attacking shape. I mean, if the weather is good, a little bit of concern that they can pass the ball around, score some tries. I don't think our defense is actually there yet. To repel teams like it was last year. We were happy to sit on our goal line last year and just not let anything in. So I think you're probably right. It'll be a decent score line. For me, the magic number has always been 24. I think it's always kind of like 4 or 5 tries. Now, yeah, can we defend it? I think we could. I think a wet game, like you said, might be good. I think that's maybe why Lussig's in there is a little well. It might just be one of those games where it's just keep everything tight. I like the idea of our attack as well in a kind of a rain game where, like you said, we talk about just simple shapes, running at the line, keeping it simple. So I'll probably go for like yeah, it will be a little bit high. I'd say like a 26-22 to us. But yeah, we have to keep them. For me, it's always about defense. I just want to see that improvement every week. I thought, like you said, contact was really good. Intensity, if we should need to keep the intensity. And look, we're going into a bye. Let's not forget. Let's go 6 points that are on offer. So almost treat it like we're going to go into a break. So give it our all. But those little things on details on the edge, yeah, just got to be real careful.
I think fans also need to go into this game, with expectations just kind of, where they need to be, not get too carried away with last week. If Dylan Edwards scored, if he slots that penalty goal, which he should have, it was right in front, 35 meters out, like he should have got that. If he got that and we lost the game, all of a sudden it's a completely different vibe that we're having here, and that was completely out of our control. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the margin that we won that game by. It's not like we thrashed them or whatever. They were well and truly in that game and they could have easily beaten us. So we just need to make sure we're not getting fully carried away, because the Dolphins could easily beat us here, and we shouldn't say if they sneak past us in the last minutes and they beat us, we shouldn't necessarily be like, well, shit, we're going backwards. We may have improved a lot from the game that we just won against Penrith, but the fact that we, winning and losing is how you're measured, obviously. That's not necessarily a reflection of how we're progressing. And if we go back 3 weeks to where we were, the sort of shit that we were dishing up, to be honest, that stuff that I saw in Newcastle, I was just like, man, what's going on here in that first half in particular? And then again against the Roosters in that first half, I feel like we've moved out of that a bit, which is great, but we're still not defending in our 20 very well. And a team like that who attacks really well, we're going to concede some points. So we just got to make sure, like, we don't get completely, sunken heads if it's not a complete, whitewash or anything, for the Warriors. It's gonna be a lot closer and a lot harder to beat this team than I think some people might be thinking.
Yeah. Any kind of get into just final thoughts, guys. Ty, anything from you? I mean, even maybe a little bit bigger picture. We're kind of coming into the mid-year part of the year. What's your evaluation so far on how things have been going?
I obviously have had us a bit more playing a bit more differently via this time, and what I mean by that is, like, some of these losses, to what you've shared, Anton, with the experience we brought in with Capewell and Roger. Obviously we've had a lot of injuries, so that plays a massive impact, but I just felt like kind of our to our high and low, it's like it's very volatile. And I thought that we would be able to actually minimize that. And I'm a person like yourself too, Anton, and I'm assuming to live on that. I'm really looking at the performance. Like, yes, let's get the result, but are we improving is what I'm looking for. And I feel like, I don't know if we fully have turned that corner, but it even showed in that Roosters game. We basically won the second half. In this game, we won, even though I felt Panthers didn't play their best. It looks like we're slowly trying to click in, and I think I can't point to one particular thing. I think it's just the boys, they're the ones that are there are locking in, and let's just hope with the boys that are coming back that we start to even see this momentum build. But it's hard not to get carried away as a Warriors fan. I understand, and I all of us just want them to win. But I do think we're still in the trenches here. We're still not in the A. We still got a lot of way to go, but I do think we can win this game. But it's all going to come down to what we've already talked about, which is intensity, and for me, that's just attitude. Like, I think we showed last week that we just wanted it a bit more than Panthers, and it showed. So hopefully we see that again.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, bro. And I think about this time of the year, you should start seeing a team's identity now. You should start seeing, okay, these are their plays that are working for them. They defend like this, they do that. I still feel like we're still figuring some of these things out. I think the Roger signing, while everyone's been really excited about it, I don't think it's worked at playing him at centre, and I don't think the plan that's been arranged for him, this kind of roving thing where he comes in and he goes sideways and palms 3 dudes in the chest, it doesn't actually help us. That style of play, and to see him be taken out of that lineup and see everybody playing much more direct and not trying to win the game by themselves or trying to essentially play like a fullback in the centres. I think that hasn't kind of worked for us. And I think once he came out of it, that even showed it even more to me that, okay, we're not using Roger properly yet. We haven't figured it out. And I think for me as well, we look like a team that really needs that first bye. We've had to wait a really long time for our first bye. And, you know, we've all got our asses hanging out by the round 13 or wherever it is by the time we get it. Some teams had theirs like round 5, round 6. That, you know, that's perfect because you get you know, the first 4 games under your belt, you get the reps in your legs, and then you get a break just to reset, equidistant to Origin. And then we've got a bye right on the last round as well, which doesn't really help you. You know, you could be out of the 8 by that time. So you could be completely out of the running. And when we first got the draw, people were like, oh, how sick is that? We get a rest before, you know, we play finals. It's like, well, hang on a minute, we're not at the finals yet. You know, the whole mentality around our fan base and around the whole community was wrong in the beginning. Even though we had a great season last year, each season starts again, and you've got to approach it like that. Like it's like you got to earn everything again. And we're still trying to find that mark. We've got it in us because we've done it before, and Webby's a great coach. He'll figure it out. But I just want to see, like you say, I want to see that improvement, and I want to see us really defend well in our 20. I really want to see an improvement on that. When we make an error, I want to see us defend it. I really want to see us do that because we've been really disappointing in that area.
Yeah. You guys are bang on. A good point, Ty, about we're still in the trenches. I said we're not, like, after the performance, I think it might have been the Titans and maybe one after that. I was like, we're in it here. We can't jumpstart this season. Like, great performance against the Panthers, but yeah, like, we're still really in this. Like, we got to still find our way out. But yeah, I think, like you said, Anton, I think we really got to nail some of these things. I think if we see signs, it's all about how you're trending for me. Like, you can have a win, but you might still be down technically. So I think we have had an uptick. I think they've found some little things with Walker. Like, I think maybe we need to have a discussion maybe in a week or 2 during the bye around Walker and Tohu, how that looks. The center thing with RTS, I agree. I said come to round 12, I want to evaluate it. Now that I've seen it with Pompey, clear signs it's starting to open up a bit more. So yeah, I think there's some of those things that we may need to discuss in the bye. It'd be good to have you guys on again as well. I think it's been a really good discussion. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. But feel confident. I think we're all feeling pretty good. Just would love to see just a really good performance. And like we say, even if it's tight or if we win by heaps, we want to see the defensive little improvements. We want to see that goal line defense, you know, be able to withstand some pressure. We don't want to see the same linking tries in the same spots all the time. So yeah, that's from me. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being on here. Thank you, Anton, my man. Ty, thank you for coming on from representing Warriors Fan TV. Thank you. Saw Tanya in the chat. We'll get Tans on here sometime, and Nick. But like, love your guys' work. Appreciate you guys, and you're welcome on. All of you guys are welcome on anytime. So thank you, my man. And Anton, bro, you're your own man. You're your own thing. You're on Twitter. Where else are you on? Where else can everyone find you?
That's it, bro. I'm just an ex-pest. I am I'm just on there, like, sort of chatting about rugby league and Supercoach all the time. That's just what I do. So yeah, and if you see me in the stands, I'm the guy with the huge, massive sign for the Bunty Appreciation Society. So come up and say g'day. Hopefully we get to sing the team song this weekend, man. Far out. It's been a while.
It's been a while, eh, boys? Yeah. Absolutely. No, absolutely. Hey guys, everyone in the chat, thank you very much for hanging. I've been watching the chat. You all been talking amongst yourselves a little bit, but great to have you guys input. All our regulars, thank you very much. No doubt you guys are on Warriors Fan TV as well. So shout out to everyone that's been in the chat. Tomorrow night, just guys, Ash will be on the show tomorrow night. His little around the league show. Jump in. He's got some thoughts on the game as well. He has his little stats as well. So don't forget to jump over tomorrow night at 7:30, I think, in New Zealand time. So check in with Ash tomorrow. And then we've got our post-match show on Sunday as well. I think it'll be a little bit of a late one, about 8:30. But you guys are welcome to. I always just send out the links, and whoever wants to jump on can jump on. So, but thank you guys. We'll leave it there. And yeah, peace. Up the wires.
Peace.
Catch you later.
Up the wires.
See you, team. Up the wires.
See ya.